pantalones gratis
con Marconi Bologna.
Esto es Los Pantalones Libres de Podcast.
The Pants Free Podcast. Pantaloni Libero.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Pants Free Podcast. I am Marconi, along with my cohort, Nick J. Miles. You made it back from New York.
You have no idea that I nearly died. I got food poisoning, and even with a stomach band, I managed projectile vomiting. Do you want me to go on?
It was really you were just in a hotel next to Andy the whole time. That's why.
That's why I was vomiting. We were sharing this room that was about the size of a boat cabin, and I'm on my knees in the toilet, which is 3 feet from him behind a piece of curtain, going. Wah!
So that had to be fun for both of you.
Well, I was really sick, and of course, and Andy's resolve to everything is, "Hey, try these pills."
Yeah. I know that.
That was my own fault. I chose to go for Indian for lunch, and that's what you get.
Where did you go? Like, did you eat Indian out of a hot dog tray or something?
No, it was a really high-end restaurant, like a $50 lunch.
Why is it that we can't go back to these restaurants and go, look, you destroyed my life. I may lose a job over this.
It's called evidence.
It's 2013. Don't we have better ways of telling? I mean, I realize most of the evidence has been flushed, but but isn't there like a way for them like to take a sample from inside of you or something?
I don't want anything else having to come out from inside of me.
This has never happened to me before when I was driving a car. I had a tire blowout on my car. And I was actually really proud of myself because I didn't even look up on a YouTube video, nothing. But I changed a tire on my own, Nick.
You know, it's how funny that sounds. I mean, it is a challenging thing, and especially depends on where you have the flat. Like if you have it, on a freeway, it's even worse. It's so dangerous. But it depends on how. And here's guys out in the woods who get their legs severed off, and then they manage to get back to help, without bleeding out, and everyone's helping them. And then we're so proud that we changed a tire on the road.
Don't downgrade my manliness. And then, I mean, it was, the thing is that I feel like so many times I'll call up my dad as a grown man, and I've had girlfriends past even say, who calls their dad to hang a picture? It was a giant piece of art. How dare you? Anyway.
This is all in your own mind, by the way.
My dad came in and anchored a giant piece of art to my wall. It took some doing, and I live in an apartment, and I didn't want to, pay more when I was moving out than I should have. So I had my dad. Anyway, I changed my own tire. Did I mention that?
I'm so proud of you.
I mean, I talked to my dad. My dad knows everything. I just texted him, hey, this is... First I texted him, guess what? I changed my own tire on my very own. What am I, like a 12-year-old boy? But I did. I was excited. I took a picture and I sent it to him, and I'm like, yeah, see? I can do manly things. I'm not dumb like everybody says. Well, Nick, I want to tell you about Dave's Killer Bread. It's getting in more and more stores, and if you have a Kroger store near you, look at their website and find out which store is your Kroger store. In Oregon, it's Fred Meyer. In Colorado, it's King Soopers. They're all over. And California, I do believe it's Ralph's. And you have Dave's Killer Bread in so many places. They're coming to New York City. And, when I go into the store, I will specifically go to a Safeway or a Kroger's just to get Dave's Killer Bread. I may not get anything else.
Oh, okay. You know what I like to do with my Dave's Killer Bread? I like to cook the bacon, and then when it's cooked, just before I put it in the bread, I like to toss the bread into the pan for a couple of seconds just to soak up the bacon juice and crisp it a little bit, just a little bit, and then you wrap the bacon inside of it and eat it.
Oh my God, deliciousness.
It's cardiac goodness.
Well, and here is another treat that I have been sampling the last few days, because I love bananas and a little healthy like earth butter or regular butter, whatever you prefer, on your Dave's Killer Bread toasted. And then the best thing is putting a nut butter on toasted bread because it's got that perfect temperature that it melts the butter, the nut butter, just enough to where it's like perfect. And then you can add slices of banana if you want, or not.
I might have to just take a break and go and get me some nut butter bread, Dave's Killer Bread.
I wish Dave would make a nut butter. I mean, he makes everything else. Why not nut butter? But anyway, Dave's Killer Bread is good in any form, even plain. I mean, here's a good test, too. If you've never tried Dave's Killer Bread, take your regular bread that you're buying now, and then get a loaf of Dave's Killer Bread, put them side by side, and just eat the bread, a sample of the bread, without anything on it, without toasting it or anything. And you'll agree, just like millions of people have, Dave's Killer Bread is the best bread on earth. Just say no to bread on drugs. For details, daveskillerbread.com.
Here's the latest news from around the world, too, right in your own backyard.
Nick, people love this part of the podcast where we talk about what's going on in the world in This Week in Pants-Free News. What do you have?
Oh, Pants-Free News is absolutely packed full of good pants-free stories. It's a big celebration across the world as the cell phone turns 40 years old. It was 40 years ago that the very first cell phone call was made with a Motorola phone. Yeah, remember them? They used to be big in the cell phone game. But just like anything else, a lot of other companies are hot on their heels. And I don't know if you remember your first cell phone, but mine was definitely the size of about 4 bricks stacked together.
See, my first cell phone was the ones we used to get when we did the afternoon show. We worked for a company. We would do commercials, and we got free phones forever. And for like 8 or 9 years, I had a free cell phone. So after that, I had to start paying for a phone. I'm like, this sucks.
That first cell phone, by the way, the commercially available one was $3,500.
Oh, my God. And that was what, in the 70s?
So 40 years ago, so I guess we're talking about 73, was it? 83?
What's weird is all these years of cell phones, and you think about back in the history of what we've gotten, and wow. One of my favorites are drunk people on the internet tweeting. That's always great. Brett Favre's penis. That's a good one. People always think of that, right? I mean, how many more traffic accidents have there been because of cell phones? Think about that.
Well, those first cell phones, I think in 1973, they had no idea how crazy it was going to go. You know, that cell phone, which was 2.5 pounds, and the battery only lasted 20 minutes. You never thought that this would be the cause of probably like 40% of the minor accidents today.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, is like before texting, do you remember having to text on a regular phone where you'd have to go through each number to get the letter?
Oh, yeah, I remember my first flip phone. Remember that?
And it's so weird to think, like, even 10 years ago, phones were still pretty primitive. And I have a box. I know you're supposed to recycle them, but I use them in my YouTube videos sometimes.
Right.
I still have, like, here's a flip phone. No, you really can't see it on audio, but there's the sound of it flipping. Yeah. Did you hear that?
I heard the flippage.
I have a lot of Samsung. Like,
remember when we had the jobs in the radios? We had those little flip phones from.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like, I never had to pay for a phone. And then the greatest thing to happen to the cell phone, and they didn't even mention this in the article, which I was kind of bummed out about, is the iPhone. I mean, there's nothing greater than that invention as far as phones go, because even though, Nick, you might not be an iPhone fan, the iPhone inspired all these other smartphones that now claim to be better and more awesome, but without the iPhone, they would have nothing.
Right, and I think the invention of the smartphone was a big step forward. I remember actually probably a big step forward was that BlackBerry type phone. I remember I got my first one when I was in Seattle, and it had sort of a full keyboard, and it didn't do web well, but it did great email and texting and phones and applications. That was great.
Yeah, now BlackBerry was like the biggest thing for a long time, and now they're like nothing. They're really trying to
they came out with a new operating system, and it was a big failure. And I think the company is now struggling to decide what they're going to do with their future. But for business, BlackBerries is still very strong.
Why don't they just do what the Android phones did and just copy the iPhone like everyone else?
Well, I think what BlackBerry did was they tried to come up with the same sort of interface, but BlackBerry is far better for text and emailing than any other service.
Think of how many senators have gotten in trouble because of phones. An election was lost because of a cell phone. Let's be honest. Like, Mitt Romney had a good chance of becoming president until that 47% speech came out, shot on an iPhone. How many careers have been ruined because of phones? That guy that played Kramer on Seinfeld. My YouTube videos are now shot on my iPhone.
Which, and you've been through quite a bit, haven't you? And then you ended up with the iPhone.
Yeah, I mean, I went through a lot of different cameras thinking, oh, this is better. And most of them weren't. And so I just said, screw it. I'm just going to use my phone. And you know what? Not one person has said, oh, I can tell you're using your phone. Pretty awful. It doesn't look...
I actually think your cell phone quality is way better than the camera.
The only thing the iPhone can't do right now is bring me food, technically. I mean, it can. I mean, I can order food. But it can't zap me into the future or take me on a time travel adventure. But I do believe that's coming.
Yeah, I think that if you go to your app store, you might find that app already installed.
Oh, but it's like $60,000. Damn it.
It's the news! It's the news!
Well, we broke some of the news here first, and it has been confirmed that Jimmy Fallon will take over The Tonight Show in 2014. We didn't know the date, but we knew it was happening.
And then 9 months later, Jay Leno will come back to take it over again.
Yeah, let's see if that happens and destroys Fallon's career.
NBC has a really weird way of firing people. They just let them host The Tonight Show. I don't really think that Jay Leno is going away anytime soon. I think they say he's going away, but I'll believe it when I see it.
How's he going to afford all those cars if he doesn't do a TV show?
He claims that he doesn't spend any of the Tonight Show money. He only does stand-up gigs, and he uses that money to live off of.
Yeah, but when you do a stand-up gig for $40,000, it's probably worth it.
Yeah, I mean, because he can conduct that because he's the host of The Tonight Show, but who knows? Like, will he do more stand-up? Will he come back to television? And I'm not saying that Jay Leno is even bad at what he does. He's a good host and all that kind of stuff, but when you have guys like Jimmy Kimmel, David Letterman, Conan O'Brien not fans of you, you may not be a good guy.
Giving the pause there to let that sink in.
The thing is, I really believe this. Letterman will retire soon after Leno says goodbye. He's not going to announce it for a while. Maybe he'll be there through another couple of years. The game has gone younger because Jimmy Kimmel has taken the reins of ABC and is doing really well. And so they're like, we can't lose this spot. We got to put our Jimmy on.
Right.
And so they're moving Jimmy Fallon up so he can take on Jimmy Kimmel. And it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
But I always equate it to like car companies. One car company does something incredible and it stimulates everybody else to try and beat them. So I think this could be good. The playing field, as you say, could become more level.
And I think, Jimmy Kimmel is just, I mean, his show is already funny. I really feel, and like I said, I might be a little biased. He has one of the best monologues on television. And I'm not just talking about the writing. I'm not talking about, clips. His delivery and the way he presents it is, to me, by far all you need to know about what's going on in the world.
Right.
So, I mean, between him and Conan, I think they've got it covered as far as monologues. But, Jimmy Fallon does slow jam the news.
He does. Madame Tussauds unveiled the One Direction wax heads this week, which it's great. If you get a Madame Tussauds model, then you clearly you've made it.
Yeah, but it seems like One Direction has been famous for like a year. But...
Well, I mean, Madame Tussauds, of course, you want to get people into the museum, and what better way to get young people into the museum, which is like the old. I did Madame Tussauds when I was a kid.
Right.
So how do you get young people in? You show them the latest, hottest thing, and maybe One Direction models won't be there next year, but this year everyone wants to go and have their picture taken with the band.
Well,
which I think is great.
I have a picture, and I put this on Throwback Thursday on Instagram, of me at a Madame Tussauds in Las Vegas with Fat Al Roker.
Yeah, see?
Mm-hmm. And I was about 300 pounds myself, so we were like, it was before the banding, before the pants.
If you knew what was to follow, would you still have had your photo taken with him?
Oh, my God, yes. I mean, he can have those little tiny things like that, but Al Roker has never had a huge scandal. You never hear anything bad that he's done.
I don't know. Pants at the White House isn't that great.
But he's the one who brought it up. Nobody else brought it up.
Right.
So I have respect for that.
So I look at these pictures.
They look exactly like these guys.
Right, I know, but look at the pictures, and now I want you to notice something. Look at the pictures, and then look at the size of the head with the guy modeling it compared to the size of the One Direction head. They're giant people. And Harry Styles looks like an Oompa Loompa. Please tell me that does not look at...
You're right. You are so right on that. I didn't know they did their hair in wax, too.
Well, I think these are the models.
Oh, okay. But the faces are uncanny. It looks so much like them. And why aren't these people the ones that do, like, those little dolls you get that are supposed to be figures of someone, like an action figure? And They never look like the person. Or those bobbleheads that just look like some generic dude.
Right.
Why don't they have more artists like this in the world making things like that?
Yeah, I know, and I think it's just purely because a lot of these companies are lazy. Madame Tussauds puts a lot of energy into these wax figurines. They do a lot of work to make them look as realistic as possible. So all up to them. I think they've done an awesome job with them, even though Harry Styles clearly looks like an Oompa Loompa. I bet you, I'm going to post this on Facebook, and I bet you everybody will tell me that he looks like an Oompa Loompa.
I agree.
Check this out. Jay-Z announced that he is getting into the sports management gig.
99 problems, and they're all legitimate businesses.
Right. This guy has been advising sports celebrities for a while on things like where to buy your house and how to do extensions on your contracts. And I like this side of Jay-Z much better than the music star side because I feel confident in he's very, very intelligent and worthy of big business. I love the fact that he's all over things that he's good at. He's advising people on it already. Why wouldn't you start a business that way? And he's already stealing stars from other management companies.
Well, I mean, if you're a professional athlete, who are you going to go with? Like a guy like Jay-Z or some dude that works for some big agency that you have no idea, like, how much they're robbing you of money or what they're doing. I mean, Jay-Z's already has a track record of success. So you're going to go with him because what do you got to lose?
Right. I mean, his involvement with all of these other stars, his advice to Justin Bieber and all that sort of stuff.
Well, I can't, any advice to Justin Bieber should be like, just stop it. But other than that,
although I think Justin Bieber played a great trick on TMZ for April Fool's.
Oh, what did he do?
Oh, it was one of the funniest things. He tweeted, because, supposedly he had this sort of breakdown. He tweeted that he wanted to talk to all of his fans, and so he set up a 1-800 number. He, please call, and he had a message for all his fans, and he tweeted this, and it was actually the tip line at TMZ he gave it to. Well, if you know anything about 1-800 numbers, every phone call incoming you get to, as the owner of the 1-800 number, you pay for. So TMZ, within seconds, racked up the biggest phone bill they've ever had.
Great. Now I have to like Justin Bieber.
When news breaks, we're the first there to mock it.
By the way, I make a new YouTube video every Tuesday on my Marconi channel. Nick, did you already watch this week's video?
No, I've stacked up. I only watched your last week's. I didn't watch your last week's video because we were in New York, so I have 2 to watch. But here's the deal. I kind of like that because I like to be able to do more than one. Because, like 10 minutes of Marconi just isn't enough.
So as soon as this podcast is over, I want you to rush to your computer and watch my videos because I think, and it's funny, the last 2 I really feel are my best 2 so far.
Yeah, no, and you'll notice the more you do them, the better you'll get.
I only hope. Check them out for yourself, youtube.com/memarconi. Subscribe and save.
also just wanted to let you know that more people are dying of the bird flus.
Yeah, it's back, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it ever really went away.
The bird flu returns, and bird flu too.
The sad thing is, another person has died, and now 6 people have been infected with the H7N9 bird flu.
Maybe that's what you had in New York City.
I doubt it. I wasn't that sick.
But where is this bird, and why can't we find it?
Well, the thing is, this has mutated. It was H5N1, but now it's H7N9, so it's getting more aggressive.
I thought that H2. What's the difference between that and the pig flu or whatever?
They're different viruses, but they're similar.
What if it hybridated? What if it was a flying pig bird flu virus?
Well, this is what they say. Since 2003. 371 people have died, and 622 people have been infected in 15 countries with the H5N1 virus.
It's going to take us over if we don't take it seriously. I mean, we laughed and made jokes last time. It's time to stop laughing.
Right, and it tends to happen in China. This is where it's all sort of happening.
Is that because they eat cat?
No, I think it's because
Because there was no problem when they didn't eat all their cats, and now suddenly because cats kill birds.
Right. I mean, supposedly they're saying if the worst thing that could ever happen is if somebody has regular flu and gets bird flu at the same time, and they cross pollinate. I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah.
But that would then lead to horrible, horrible, horrible diseases.
Having the bird flu and being too weak to get up, and your cats think you're dead, and they start eating the backs of your legs.
My worst nightmare, cats eating me. Hey, by the way, if you're watching the Daily Buzz, actually this doesn't work, does it? Because this will go up tomorrow.
No, what is the Daily? What's going on?
I'm on the Daily Buzz tomorrow morning at 6:22 a.m.
Oh, wait. The Daily Buzz. What is that?
It's like a morning show, a national morning show.
Oh, it's on TV?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't watch TV. Oh, I would watch it if you're on. I mean, where can I find it in my local listings?
It's on My20, Denver.
What about Los Angeles? Where can I find it there?
In California, in Los Angeles, you can find it on KDOC, KDOC.
That's not a real channel. Wait,
yeah.
Nick, that's the station that was the station that had that horrific New Year's Eve show.
Yeah, I'm on that station.
Oh, my God. Oh, man, I'm watching now. This could too bad it's not live and Jamie Kennedy's not involved because, oh, man.
Right.
I hope they don't. I should edit this out, right? Because if they listen to this and hear you goofing on, Nick is not doing any of the goofing, by the way. It's me.
There you go. His
podcast pal. He is not affiliated with me in any way. In fact, he's a guest. All right. Let's be honest.
And by the way, if you're Jacksonville, Florida, I'm on your Jax.
You are not? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Like JAX?
Yeah, you're Jax.
Oh, my God. All right, so look for Nick on this made-up show called The Daily Buzz. I think dailybuzz.com is the website, too. Well, Nick, I thank you for joining me again. And for all things Nick Miles, just type in Nick J. Miles on the internet, and you'll see some freaky shit. But until next time, this is Bolognius Francine Marconi for Nick Miles saying...
In Iowa, on Ottumwa, I'm on Quat.
Yeah, stop farting. Hands-free podcast. Hands-free podcast. Free podcast. Hands-free podcast.
Do you want to do the ending again?
No, I was perfect. Again. Oh my God.